started. Welcome everyone to our lunch bunch for May. I'm Teresa Ream, the president of Professional Women's Network and also the president of the Ream Companies, who's disaster cleanup specialist, Flooring America, Floor Store USA, and Cypress Design and Build. So excited to be here with you today. I'm really excited to learn from Victoria Sexton on fast tracking your financial success. Victoria is also the brilliant podcast host of Don't Play with Trash, with topics on why you're broke and how to improve your relationship with money. And I really like her. I really like her podcast. She's got this sense of humor that I connect with, and she's very bright. So I'm glad you're here, Victoria. And then also I want to shout out to our May sponsor, Joey Garrity, and she's the founder of Joey G113 Branding. She works with entrepreneurs and creative types, and she integrates her visibility strategies and tools to lead to greater influence. And she really does do all of that. And I love her maxim, and it's your birthright to stand in your spotlight, get visible, and grow your influence. So thank you very much for being our sponsor in May. Yay.
Thank you.
And then a shout out to Eileen Groves, our bookkeeper extraordinaire, and she does my book. She's really great at them. She does PWN's books for nearly next to nothing. Really appreciate what she does for PWN. So let's move to Julianne, and she will introduce our showcase.
Yes, awesome. Well, great. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Joey Garrity. She is the founder of Joey G113, is a brand director, author, live stream host, and international speaker. For over 15 years, she has had a successful career in the Hollywood entertainment industry at the top companies in film, television, and more. After returning to the Bay Area, Joey was inspired to launch Joey G113. She works with entrepreneurs and creative types to leverage their expertise, gifts, and talents. She integrates her visibility strategies, tools, and tips to lead to greater influence through her unique and proven 113 Superstar Visibility and Influence System. Joey truly believes that it is our birthright to stand in your spotlight. It has nothing to do with your last name or vocation. It has everything to do with you living your true purpose and turning up your visibility and influence and allowing your spotlight to shine bright. Take it away, Joey.
Hi, everyone. Hi. So I know mostly everyone here, right? So I just want to share a little bit about what's been going on. So yesterday I was working out and I was thinking about my why. So I'm in Krista Beaver's book club, by the way. So everyone's invited. Please join. Love it, love it, love it. And we're reading a book, and he was talking about our why and how our why could potentially shift with time. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, my why hasn't shifted. I think my why just got more, I've got more clarity around my why. And my why is 110% about empowering women. I came from a background where I was in rooms with a majority of men most of my career in Hollywood. It was very rare for me to sit across from another woman in those rooms. And so when I came out of there, I didn't really have, I had really close friendships, but I didn't really have close sisterhood colleague friendships built, right? Because I was running with mostly all guys. And then I had a couple people, one of them, Gina Estrada, who walked into my life, and she took me underneath her wing, and she was just like, hey, right? Women are awesome. And they're even more fun to collaborate with and to get in business with, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'll never forget that. And what it did for me is it opened up my world to an entire different dynamic of what it's like to run with women that empower other women. And I say this all the time, if you could just get a handful of women together and we could literally build Mars. Like we could build a city on Mars, that just a handful of women, right? And so that's my why. And I was like at the gym, and I know, you're supposed to be like, very subdued at the gym or whatever, but I got really excited because I was like, wow, My why has been there since day one. It's just now, it's just getting louder and louder and louder. And a couple of months ago, I had a dream, and Gina Estrada popped into my dream, and she had to sit down with me, sister. She did, and it was very real. And she basically told me to get louder. She said, you have a quietness about you sometimes, and it's time to get loud. And I was like, okay. So I woke up from that dream, and I put down in writing everything that I was really passionate about doing in the next couple months. One of them in particular is I just launched the Joey G 113 digital network. What it's going to do is it's going to empower and give women opportunities to become live stream hosts, right? To become podcasters, take my background that I love and then pull it forward, right? And then collaborate with other people out there in that world, and really just blow people's brands up. And that's exciting. I love people to become stars. I think it's fun. So this is a huge spotlight, right? I already launched it. I have my first talent. She's already come on board. There's going to be a big announcement going on about that. There'll be other moving parts to it too. But yeah, so that's my why, empowering women. And I tell you, ladies, I'm just going to share what Gina shared with me. Get louder. If you're over there kind of like, just like, yeah, no, get on top of a rooftop and scream who you are from the rooftop. Stand in your spotlight, be proud of it, grow your influence, because you can give it to others. You can open doors for others to do the same. It's so much more rewarding and exciting. Now, does anyone have any questions or anything like that? Is anyone excited about getting loud, like getting louder? Raise your hand. Right? Yeah. Right. Because we are taught, and particularly in those rooms, I was taught how to be quiet, right? With all men, right?
Yes, be a good girl.
Yeah, to be the good girl. So if you guys haven't read Joy Balma's book yet on the Good Girl series, run, buy this book, another game changer, right? But that's what I was taught. But then I had these women like Gina and all these other women come around me, and they're like, come on, let's go. And that's been the biggest game changer. It was a tipping point. It's how I launched my business, actually, is because I had a woman mentor say, why don't you become a speaker? And I'm like, what would I talk about? She's like, what? How about Hollywood? And I was like, oh yeah, I could talk about that all day and all night, right? And then I had another woman, Sheila Kennedy. She came to me and she said, I'm opening up a publishing division. Why don't you be my first author? Right? And I never one time, my whole life, not even as a young girl, ever considered myself a writer. And I said yes. And that's how I came up with my first book. And now I have my second book coming out. I mean, my second book already dropped with Sheila Kennedy. And she's also been one of those that's helped me to get louder, right? Get louder and stand in my spotlight. So I love you. 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 And I appreciate you guys.
Wow. Thank you, Joey. I could just listen to your voice all day. So let's move to Marian, and she's going to introduce our speaker.
Well, we had a little intro by Teresa of Victoria, but I want to just go ahead and kind of repeat a few things now because some of you didn't get the chance to hear it. So Victoria Sexton, who's our speaker today, helps successful women feel more confident about their money. She does that through leveraging money mindset and financial education. Victoria is a financial coach. She's a best-selling author. She's the founder of Align Wealth Coaching. She's the creator of the Effortless Money System, and she's the host of Don't Play with Trash podcast. Love it. After spending years of working in finance and still not feeling confident about her money, she discovered her own secret sauce, combining the money mindset with a straightforward personal finance system. And now she teaches that same system to her clients. And I think she's going to teach us a few of her strategies today too. So welcome, Victoria.
Hi, ladies. Okay, so I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things I have done that have totally changed my relationship with my money and how much money is in my bank account. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have PowerPoint charts. I worked in corporate America. I just cannot take it out of me. I have charts. So if you guys have questions, I would love for you to just shout them out. And yeah, let's get going. Okay, so let's talk about effortless money. So first of all, I'm going to share with you some statistics. We all know that the gender pay gap is alive and well. It's still a thing. Women are also 5 times more likely to live paycheck to paycheck compared to their male counterparts. Women are 80% more likely to live in poverty in their retirement years compared to men. Women hold 71% of their assets in cash, and they're far less likely to invest than men. And we live 8 years longer than our man on average, which means we need the resources available to us in those years. So while these statistics, a lot of people freak out and it may seem grim, but here's the deal. These tell me that it's time for a change, and that time is now. So that's what we're doing today. That time is now. So let me ask you, and you can raise your hand, you can just think to yourself, if you fall into any of the following categories. Is your money, is it overwhelming, confusing, scary? Maybe it's just a slog. Maybe it's just boring. Maybe you're just thinking, oh gosh, I have to look at my account again. I'm going to make sure all the bills are paid, blah, blah, blah. But what if it wasn't that way? What if money wasn't stressful? What if it made you feel free? What if it gave you options? And this could be a tool that you use to support yourself and your family and all of those people in your community that you love supporting, like your favorite charity organizations, that sort of thing. Now is the time. So if any of you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. Now's the time. We need to start making our money easier. And let me tell you, I'm all about easy peasy. I literally wrote a book called Effortless Money. So this is how much I feel strongly about this. We need to start making our money easier so we can stop stressing out. So we can stop leaving money on the table, stop second guessing ourselves and ignoring our money, and start making headway towards our goals. And that starts today. Okay, so here's a couple things about me. I'm a financial coach, do consulting. I used to be a financial advisor, and that really wasn't my jam. And now I do my own thing. I love revenue streams. I love helping people set up different ways they can bring in income. I also, like I mentioned, I'm an author. I'm a word nerd. I create these abundance affirmation decks. So I love everything about words. Also, my dad taught me how to invest when I was a teenager. So I am 100% a big nerd. And I was the only girl at the time, I'm in my 40s. So at the time, I was the only girl who was day trading in college. Everyone thought I was bonkers. Anyway, so my stock market is my first love, and I love teaching women how to use the stock market as a tool for how they're going to leverage their money. So I'm on a mission to help women become independently financial. I'm also a mom of 2 boys. Yes, who eat me out of house and home every week. And fun fact about me is I might cut somebody for a churro. I absolutely love churros. It's my favorite part of Disneyland. So we finally stopped going to Disneyland. I just get churros. So I've also had to overcome my own financial struggles. And So I'm not going to be one of those people that just is like, everything's lovely. I'm going to tell it to you like it is, because I've had to figure stuff out on my own, even though I've worked with money my entire career. So this is my money pit. This was my house in Seattle. And we lived in Seattle for 5 years. 4 years, 5 years. So in the time that we owned the house, we spent $70,000 in unexpected home repairs. The people who sold us the house, like, we probably should have sued them. There was a bunch of stuff wrong with the house. And they said nothing was, you filled out that little form. It's like, have you made any home repairs? Do you know anything about the house that's wrong? Blah, blah, blah. They didn't put anything down, but yet they DIY'd their own roof the wrong way. The neighbor told us all the stuff that had happened with the house. So we found ourselves, my husband and I were both working corporate America. We're both making good money, and there was no money left at the end of the week. And we were like, why do we have no money? And we realized it's this house that's falling down around us. And we had to figure out a way to get out of the situation on our own. No help from anybody. We figured it out on our own. Here's the thing about the house. The house taught me valuable lessons about money, and specifically what I'm going to teach you today in regards to effortless money. So what is effortless money? So when I'm talking about effortless money, I'm talking about the two sides of money. So you know how people talk about, oh, manifesting, and we're going to think positive and all of that. That's over here. That's this side. And then there's the practical side, which is like, let's use QuickBooks and optimize our expenses and all of that. Very few people talk about how to marry the two. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because what I found was, unless you can leverage the two, you can have lofty goals all you like, but generally there's something missing. So I'm going to talk with you about 3 things that really made a big difference for me. I'm going to give you actionable steps that you can take, because I think that is the most important thing. And I'm going to also tell you, if you start to backtrack, here's what you can do. So the first step that we're going to talk about is aligning your mindset with your financial goals. And this is what I found. How you feel about your money dictates how much money you have. So it's really like, it's such a mental game, right? And because I would have people come into my office and they would say, I just don't understand why I can't make more than $80,000 a year. And I could see like it was a struggle for them. But at the same point in time, then this lady told me she just turned down a contract for $20,000. Well, I haven't specifically done that thing before. You're saying no to money. Like, let's not say no to money. So let's pay attention to the things that we are saying to ourselves about our money and how we feel about our money. That's really the first thing. So let's talk about some money mindset myths, because when people talk about money mindset, frequently they think it's just thinking positive. It's really not. Or people think that money mindset doesn't matter, or that money mindset is just for people who are Zen, or it doesn't matter because I'm not good enough with my money, or that it's not important. All of these things are false. Here's my little iceberg of money here. On the top are the things that we actually do with our money. How much money we have in our bank account, our money habits, what we're spending our money on. There's all of this stuff underneath the surface of the iceberg, such as energetic signals that we're sending out in relation to our money, things that we tell ourselves about our money, the money stories that we carry with us, subconscious habits. There's a lot happening. There's a lot to this. Now, keeping the iceberg in mind, how do we leverage our mindset and make sure it's working for us? So there's power in the things that we tell ourselves. So my question to you is, what are you telling yourself about your money? And I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans. Okay, so I I was born in the 70s. Like, we all watch Star Wars. My kids love Star Wars. I'm watching with my son one day, and we're watching specifically episode 6. I believe that's Return of the Jedi, but I'm not positive. And so Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are battling it out, right? And Darth Vader is winning, and he's like cool like a cucumber, and Luke is starting to waffle. You can tell that he's like got a lot going on in his head. And Darth Vader says, "Your thoughts betray you." And I go, oh, dang, Darth Vader. And wisdom, your thoughts betray you. And I kept thinking about how many times have my thoughts betrayed me when I've told myself I can't do it. Or like some of the awful things I used to tell myself about my money. It's really important to pay attention to the things that we tell ourselves. And here's your action step for this week. For 1 week, I want you to write down everything that you tell yourself in relation to your money. So maybe you always say, oh, dang, I messed up again, or I really need to check my checking account, whatever it is in relation to your money. I want you to write that down. At the end of that week, take a look at it and see, is that how you would talk with your best friend? Is that how you want to feel about your money? And if not, then we need to switch things up. You need to change your thoughts. And how you do that is by catching yourself every time you say something nasty to yourself about your money, catching yourself and saying something else to yourself instead. So when you start to feel wobbly, remember I talked about like what to do when things don't completely go 100% our way. When you're starting to feel wobbly, use a money mantra. So here is one for you to use. Okay, no, don't do that. Oops, I totally went back. Okay, there we go. There we go. Sorry, technical user difficulties. So money mantra. It's okay if I'm a work in progress. I'm working towards my financial goals. Isn't that something nicer to say than, oh, gosh, I messed up again, right? And so when you have a money mantra, you can put it on your phone, put it down as a reminder, and you can set that up for once an hour, once a day, whatever it might be. But it's a good way to remind yourself of the beliefs that you're trying to reinforce and the thoughts that you want to be thinking about every day. The second thing is to embody the wealthy you. Tony Robbins, people who have gotten gold medals, a lot of sports people, they have used visualization for years. They've been imagining themselves crossing the finish line, being the first person. You can use those techniques too to help you reach your financial goals. And here's the question for you is, can you see yourself in that wealthy life that you want? And I've talked with a lot of people who their goals are, I want to make $1 million next year. Okay, well, what does that look like? And then it kind of stop. And if you can't imagine yourself in your wealthy future life, it's not going to happen. Let's talk about myths for a second about having a wealthy life. Being wealthy is only for a chosen few, or being wealthy is only for those who are smart enough to handle their money, or being wealthy means maybe I'm mean or selfish or greedy or whatever. These are all myths about wealth. And in our society, we frequently have these and we don't really unpack them or think about, is that really true? Wealth doesn't define you, but you get to define what wealth means to you. So does wealth mean to you, okay, I have, $5,000 in passive income coming in, so I can only work, so I don't need to work full time. Does wealth mean that your house is paid off? What does wealth mean to you? And once we define it, then it's easy to see ourselves in that life. So wealth can be anything you want it to be. So using visualization, I think, is one of the best techniques that I learned. And how I stumbled across this is I'm laughing at myself as I'm talking about this. I went to this, a friend of mine is a life coach, and she goes, go with me to this life coaching seminar. I'm like, okay. I was really negative about it. And this lady was taking us through this guided visualization about, and I was such a negative Nelly. I was like, oh, future self, right? And what was so funny was I got so much out of it. And because all of a sudden I connected the dots. I'm like, I can see her. I can see her. I can see me as her. I can see the life that I want. So try to put yourself in that life, that wealthy life that you want. And like I said, if you can't see yourself in that wealthy life, it won't become a reality. Okay, so here's your action step for that one. Meditate, visualize, journal, do whatever your thing is that helps you get centered, helps you concentrate. Do that thing and imagine yourself in the wealthy life that you want. Do you see it clearly? What are you going to drive? What are you going to wear? Where are you going to live? Come up with as many details as you want. How will you feel when you achieve these goals? That's the most important thing for me, is how am I going to feel? Am I going to feel a relief? Am I going to feel free? Am I going to feel like I can achieve anything? How am I going to feel? So life is long and sometimes we have setbacks. So how are you going to feel? How are we going to, what are we going to do when we feel discouraged? And my answer to that is just get back to who you are, like the you that feels good. Maybe it's dancing around in the kitchen. Maybe it's, going to the beach, doing yoga, journaling, whatever it is that helps you get centered. When you're feeling wobbly, when you're feeling like, oh, maybe I don't deserve this wealth that I want, we have to get centered again and get back to who we are. And this is the third thing I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to see how I'm doing on time. So here's the third thing. And I think this might be the most important or my most favorite that I'm going to share with you. And that is to focus on revenue streams. Revenue streams are it. So just raise your hand if you have more than one revenue stream going, if this is something, okay, I see a couple of you. So I believe that having more than one revenue stream is one of the most important things that you can do for your financial future. If you have one revenue stream, you only have one thing, one way the money's coming in. If there's something that happens with that, maybe there's a hiccup, maybe there's a change in the market, maybe something big, we saw this happening with COVID. All of a sudden, a lot of businesses changed. It's possible that, if something happens with that one revenue stream, how are we going to handle that? When you have more than one revenue stream, you have different options. And the thing is, with revenue streams, I think of them as an experiment. So how are we going to have some fun and make some money? Because for me, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. That's just what I've learned about myself. So let's talk about revenue streams. I'll give you some examples and of how they show up in people's lives. So what I want you to know about revenue streams is it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just another source of income. And how I think of things is the more money I have, the more impact that I can make on this world, either through that loud voice we have, because I have more time to do things like I don't know, go live on a social media platform, or more time to podcast, or more time to write books. And that also equates to, I have more impact, right? So more money, more impact. And so if you find that, and a lot of people I talk with find that there's this stigma with, I don't want more money, because if I have more money, that means that I am blah, blah, blah. I am all these different things. Let's just think of it this way: more money, more impact. I can support my family more. I can help out those in my community that I want to help out. I can maybe spend less time working and impact my life positively and show up fully when I do show up. So more money, more impact. Here's some examples of revenue streams. Jen has a 9-to-5 and she teaches tap dancing at night. Mindy works part-time at an office and makes websites. Susan is a consultant. She sells novels online and she rents out an ADU. This can show up in your life however you want to. So some people I know have like, this would be me. I feel like I have five different revenue streams that are all like between part-time and full-time. And my husband always makes fun of me about it. He's like, okay, what are you doing now? But that's me. I do not like doing the same thing every day. So again, you can tailor it to you and what you like to do. If you do like doing the same thing every day, maybe you have 2 different revenue streams. Maybe one of your revenue streams is passive. Maybe you're getting, I don't know, passive income from selling a book or owning some type of real estate. Or I was just talking to my son about this the other day. He was like, let's have a vending machine that has healthy snacks and put it in a hospital. Brilliant, kid, brilliant, you're hired, let's do it. So you can come up with all these different ways to bring in money. They don't have to be hard, complicated, anything like that. Okay, what else are we talking about? Okay, myths. You need to have a part-time job. No, we do not need to trade, time for dollars. You need to spend a lot of time getting a degree or certification. Totally false. You need to spend money up front. That's false too. Sometimes you need to spend time up front, but that's a different deal. The next is trading time for dollars. Like I said, that's totally false. You don't need to do that. And here's the thing is, I bet you have a skill right now that somebody else is willing to pay you for. Whether you know that you have that skill or not, most of the time it's just something that you're really good at. And you're like, oh yeah, I do ABC. And I do that for me, and I do that at home. We a lot of times don't think of that in terms of a marketable skill and the fact that someone is willing to pay for that. There's a lot of things that I'd be willing to pay for because I'm not good at certain things. So I would just think of it in those terms. Okay, how do we get started with revenue streams? And this is your last action step. Start to become aware of interesting and fun ways that people are making money. How are people using their gifts? How are people leveraging technology? And think of what gifts that you want to share with the world and what are all the ways that you can share it. So the most interesting, I love checking out how people are making money. And so I totally went down the rabbit hole one day and I ran across, there's this actor, he's in this particular show. And then I was like, what the heck is he doing on Patreon? Because there was something on his Instagram that led to Patreon. And for fans of his show, he set up a Patreon account where they could subscribe. And I can't remember, it's like $120 a month or something like that. They can subscribe. He does monthly Zoom meetings with big fans of the show. And he has interviews with other actors. He talks about the show and like his most favorite episodes and things like this. And so I took a look at it and I was like, he's bringing in almost $3,000 a month. And he just started this thing. Apparently it's new. Bringing in almost $3,000 a month, just doing this, just talking about the show, just connecting with his audience. That's a nice revenue stream. So again, we don't have to do something, it doesn't have to be hard or complicated or slog or anything like that. It can be totally fun. So I just started to pay attention to ways that people are making money that are easy peasy and that leverage technology, because we have all this lovely technology. So let's use it. Okay, so again, how do we get back on track when revenue streams seem really complicated, when all of a sudden making money seems really complicated? Frequent and perfect action is the answer. And that is, we're just going to start to do things that seem like they're fun, that bring us joy, that, you know, and then I'll give you an example of this. So I started doing these affirmation decks, and I just, as a whim one day, I was like, this seems like fun. I think I'll do this. And I had a prototype put together. There's a card company in Michigan that I was like, oh, this would be fun. And I posted it on Facebook, and people started messaging me and asking me when they could place an order. I was like, oh, shoot, this is a thing. Okay, so I quickly came up, put something on my website that was like, pre-order, you'll get this in a month. And then I placed an order with the website. It didn't take me very long. Like, I thought it was fun. It didn't take me very long to put it together. Again, if it would have been crickets and if I would have heard nothing from anybody, I probably wouldn't have worried about it, and I would have moved on to something else. Try just frequent and perfect action, see what pops up, see what people get excited about. And then the more that you're excited about something too, that's when people get excited as well. So what else do we need to know? We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it easy. We're going to reward ourselves for victories. And if nothing else, spend 5 minutes a day on your money. I don't think that there's any, like, you don't get any like special badge for torturing yourself hours and hours over looking at your finances. Keep it easy, make it 5 minutes a day if you have no other time than to do that. Oh, and like ninja level next step I have down here, use your bank's software system. Use technology as much as possible to do the things that you don't love to do with your money. So that way, the fun things that we're talking about, we can do more of. Okay, so we covered a lot of territory today. I'm just going to do a quick recap. Okay, so, and as you can see, the 3 things that we covered, it kind of all flows together, right? Because we're starting over here with Darth Vader, with kind of like the mindset, the airy-fairy stuff on that side, and we're moving more to the practical side, which is the revenue streams. And again, I think that it's all connected. So remember, it starts with your thoughts, it starts with your beliefs, and kicking those bad thoughts to the curb and making sure that we're reinforcing our values and our beliefs with what we tell ourselves. And the next one is focusing on the wealthy future life that you want, visualizing it, seeing it. How are you going to feel when you're that girl with the champagne on the yacht? Like, whatever the thing is you want to do. And the third thing is to focus on revenue streams that are fun, they're easy, like ways of bringing in money that are, it's not going to be a ton of effort, but it's going to be something that you love, you enjoy, and you are going to increase your cash flow. And as you can tell, I get really excited when I talk about this, because for me, everything is all about the cash flow. So let's see, what else do I have for you? I think that's it. Okay, wealth is possible. Believe it, take action. Let's stay in touch. Okay, so if you guys loved what I had to talk about today, I have a free resource called 30 Ways to Make More Money. You go to victoriasexton.com/30, and I'll put the link in the chat too. And so it, again, it has all these same themes of how are we going to do things easily to make more money and bring more money into our lives. And then for those of you who are looking for some more information, a little bit deeper dive, I just opened up my Rich Life community again. And it's 2 hours of coaching. We have resources, Facebook group, and it's like a crazy low price. You would not believe how much I'm offering because I'm just doing this for a short amount of time. So go to victoriasexton.com/richlife if you want to get in on my Rich Life community. And that is it, friends. So thank you.
All right, ladies. Now I have a question for you, and I'm sure I'm hoping some other questions come. That 5 minutes that you said to take on your finances, what do you suggest that be spent on?
I think that if you're the 5-minute person and that's all you have time and available brain power for, I would say put together a calendar for yourself and then be like, instead of like Tuesdays, we wear pink, Mondays, we check our checking account, Tuesdays, we look at whatever. So that way you can space out what you're going to do over the entire month. For a lot of people, it's overwhelming to sit down for an hour and look at their finances. So instead of doing that, you can spread it all out over a month and still be efficient and make sure you know where you stand financially.
That's huge. That's a big aha, because a lot of us can go a week or two without really checking things, even longer. And that kind of makes it easy and doable. And then you're on a plan and you have a system set up too. I like what you said about cash flow, because I always tell people cash flow is king. Cash is king, cash flow is king. And I set up my business where it's run by admin. It's not run by production. It's run by admin, and admin makes all the decisions, and that's the way to go. And we keep production in line. So yes, big proponent of that. So who else has a question? Patty Farmer.
So the couple things I want to say, that was absolutely fabulous, Victoria. Thank you so much. I thought it was kind of funny. My phone wall screen says on here, it's got money coming down, flowing down, and it says on here, I created it. It says money flows to me effortlessly. I think that's kind of funny, but thinking about that every single day, everybody loves vision boards. I actually just don't love the cutting out and pasting part. So what I did, because it works for me, is I created on Pinterest a secret board, and I love visual. And so I have it just filled with, affirmations and, pictures that I put there of things that are real to me. And so every morning when I get up, before I look at my inbox, get on the first call or do anything, I look at that board first. And whenever I do sales calls, I actually have it up on my other screen, because that is what really motivates me to make sure that I'm doing it. And then on the other side over here, I have a picture of my community, because everything I do is because I want to serve and make me money. And the more money I make, the more I get to serve. So for me, that visual keeps me going all the time. So I love the visual of it for me.
Yes, the visual is so important. We didn't have technology in the 90s when I made my board, but I still have them. They're two folders, just regular file folders. And one had my life as it was, which was just like, I think my hair standing up. It was crazy, tension headaches. And then it had what is essentially my life now. And one of the things on my vision board was to have a second home in a place that was actually warm with a pool. So that was my biggie. And as you can see, it's come to fruition. And so everything on that vision board has come to life. And so it's very important to keep those going, to keep them going. Anything else? Any comments? If you don't have a question, a comment? Marion, and then we'll go to you, Sandra.
So question, Victoria, obviously now all we're hearing about on TV is inflation, inflation, inflation. What do you recommend to all of us to keep an eye on, or what to do or what not to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I just met with my community last night. We're talking about the same thing. So getting back to, there's the two parts of money. There's like the mindset piece and then the physical money piece. I think that for some people, what's going to help them feel better about inflation, what's happening in the world, life in general, that's going to be different for each person. And so for me, because I love good food, okay, I'm Italian, I love to eat, and it's really expensive to eat out now. And especially with my boys who like literally can eat a ton of food. So I started cooking all my meals at home. And then I'm actually obsessed now with making the perfect loaf of bread, because this is what I've noticed. You go to the store, we would get a loaf of bread because someone wanted a grilled cheese sandwich. And then maybe they would use 2 slices, and then someone else would go to use it, and then the bread would be moldy. And then I would get mad. I'd be like, how long has this thing been sitting in the store? So I'm on a mission to make the perfect loaf of sourdough bread. But this is what I'm doing. And like what I'm doing is different than what other people are going to do. So first start with what's going to make you feel good about life. Maybe that's having $10,000 in a savings account. Okay, great, go do it. I think there's a lot that we can't control. So we shouldn't focus on that. Like nobody in the Fed is calling to ask me my opinion on monetary policy. So I'm not going to worry about that. But again, what I'm going to do is focus on my food budget, using things like Misfits Market and Imperfect Foods, and shopping locally for produce that's a little bit cheaper, seeing how I can decrease my food costs. Again, I have 2 boys, like that's the most expensive costs I have right now. So what are your big pain points? What are your big costs? And taking a look at like, is it keeping you up at night? Are you okay with it? Are you concerned? What specifically are you concerned about, and what can you do about it? Because a lot of stuff we can't do anything about, but I would take specific action in a way that's going to make you feel better about life in general.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's good. I'm never going to complain about my little twig of a grandson never eating. I'm going to rejoice. Sandra.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is what the copy of Effortless Money looks like. It is so user-friendly, narrow, but every word is so meaningful. And if you'd like to expand what you've heard today, definitely go to Amazon.com. It's not an expensive book, but here is the first book on money that I've ever read that emphasizes the emotional component of money. Because I, in my seemingly normal 39 years, have in the last year had a very unnormal life. But this book, written by a woman who's been there and had to come out of things, it's totally incredible. So I recommend it very highly to wherever you are. And I've learned in life that whatever financial lane that you're in, if you go down, you're going to strive very heavily to get back into that lane. And I just can't say enough about it. I was delighted to meet Victoria. Where are you on the screen, Victoria?
She's right there.
Yes, and so it's just better than terrific.
Thank you, Sandra. We have so many great authors in PWN, and we're going to be celebrating our authors in July, the 3rd Thursday in July. So we are so excited about doing that, and that'll be done virtually. So thank you. Another good meeting, another just feeling great about being in each other's presence, and we're out of here. So have a great day, and we'll see you soon. See you for the think tank coming up.
Thanks, Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria. That was great.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria. It was really great.